All right, so another microsite profits video review. Module 2 finally came out and I knocked it out the park. I'm done with it. So let me and you go ahead and talk about it. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So Module 2 really focused a lot, not that it focused a lot on, it completely was about content. The whole thing was about, you know, um, it starts off with the module introduction, which I think was cool. Then it goes into creating content that Google will love, and it talks about the recent Google updates such as Panda, um, and Penguin and things like that, and how people used to write content before with just throwing up random keywords so they could rank without really adding value to the readers, and how the reason Google made those updates was because it didn't want someone to show up on their first page because they didn't want someone with crappy content to show up on the first page because the reader is going to go there and not have any value, and that will diminish the usability of Google. And if the usability of Google is diminished, then marketers are not going to pay for ads to show up. Marketers are not going to pay Google for ads to show up on their results because Google's usability is being diminished. So that was interesting to understand how that concept works. So they talked about what constitutes when I mean they, I'm talking about Sterling and Jay. They talked about what constitutes a good article, what constitutes good content, the type of content you shoot for, and how they're not just going for the minimum criteria. They're hitting for like that plane that's in between, so that your content or these sites that you're throwing up aren't going to be taken down by any update that Google throws out because you're legitly putting them together, even though you're doing them in a very fast time. So that was cool, but I'm pretty sure that was cool. Next was plan your content. This one was pretty interesting, because they gave you a little outline to use, which I should have pulled up. So give me some time. Let me see if I can pull that up. Here's some advice that I want to actually throw out there for people who are interested in getting down with MSP, Miracle Site Profits. S- Use use Google. You have to use Google, and definitely throw everything you can. It's actually I throw everything you can in. Use Google Drive as the source that you use to manage everything that you're doing. I use it and I love it. I only go for one place to have all my articles taken care of, and that's what I want to show you guys real quick. So online business. From there we go to, I think it was men's leisure watches. And yeah, so here's the kind of way. What was I talking about? Yeah, so planning your content. So in planning your content, they give you this really cool spreadsheet, which you can use to kind of be more strategic in the purpose in how you're going to be writing these articles. So it starts off with your primary keyword. Mine was men's luxury watches, and then it says create a title for the post. So mine was best men's luxury watches. The post purpose, which is why this article is being written, and then the post description, which they didn't tell you yet. But what's going to happen is that when you do put this article up for keyword purposes, you're going to put this as the description, so that when someone searches this keyword and this article shows up, this is a description that Google will have in the description of what it is that you're talking about. So that was pretty cool. So this little layout is something that I thoroughly enjoy, and I think you guys should definitely use. So then after planning your content, they go in. Module 2 goes in and talks about where to go and get your content from. And there's two options. And the first option, you can probably guess, is just writing it yourself. Taking your time and energy and just sitting there and writing your articles yourself. And then the other option is to pay someone else to write content for you. And how do you know which one you want to go for? That's a personal question. I mean, if you have, buying content is relatively inexpensive. If you run with it that way, you're going to spend, like I said in my last video, you're going to be spending roughly about $17 per article, and that's not bad. So if you're putting 10 articles up, that's going to be 170 bucks. So If that's something you can afford to put out, then go for it. But if you feel like you want to write the articles yourself, then you have more time than you do spare income, then definitely by all means sit down and write the content yourself. Of course, writing the content yourself, you're going to sacrifice time, but you know for a fact that what you're getting is what you want because you wrote it. As far as buying content, you sacrifice time. I mean, you get back time and you sacrifice money instead. And there's a little bit. I went for the buying content option. I hate not that I hate writing, but these niches aren't something that I'm passionate about. Like I love men's luxury watches, but I'm not going to sit there and write 5 articles, some of them being 700 words, about men's luxury watches. It's just not what I'm going to do. But I'd rather pay $5 and have someone else do it. Heck yeah, let's do that. So they talk about buying content, which is the option that I'm a fan of, and they mentioned a couple ways to go and do it. They talked about iWriter, which is a website that you can use to hire writers. They talked about Fiverr, which is another website, and I think they missed a couple more because I know for a fact there's sites like Odesk, there's sites like Elance, and my personal favorite is just to officially hire a uh, full-time VA for like something like 250 to $350 a month and just have that person write as many articles as you want. Which is something we're going to get to. We're not at that level yet. I want to make sure that this first website goes through, uh, you know, hitch free. I definitely want to get my first niche website out there, making at least $10, which is the minimum, and then I'll talk a little bit more about that. But that's the method that I big picture seeing everyone going through, especially me and you are going to go through in the long run. So, but yeah, buying your content. They mentioned Sterling and Jay did talk about iWriter and they did talk about Fiverr, but lots of other good places are going to be Odesk and Elance. ELANCE.com. Those are places that I go sometimes to get my articles because iWriter is interesting, but the thing with iWriter is that when you first get started, you have to find out who are I get a lot of crappy writers, and my acceptance ratio is very low. I have like a 20% acceptance letter ratio, and that's the amount of art people you reject versus the amount of articles you accept. And I have no tolerance for people who don't have mastery over the English language. I know sometimes I thought I was being very picky, but you have to be because if you use iWriter and you're not very picky, you're going to get crappy content. And someone's going to come to your website and they're going to know for a fact. It's going to look like and feel like someone from like another country that doesn't speak English put it together, and that's not what you want if you're based in if where you're putting these sites up is an English dominated area. You don't want a native English reader to go to your website and automatically be turned off because the person, well, the way the article is written is by someone who's not a native English speaker or who has mastery over writing in English. So if I writer, a lot of people come on and they don't English isn't their first language and they don't have mastery over the English language. So if I perceive that at all, I completely reject it and you get a 1 star. Like I'm relentless for that. And the reason I say iWriter is a little bit tricky at first is because you have to build up that list of people who are actually good writers. And once you build up that list, then you're fine. Once you get about 10, 15, 20 people and you know those 20 people are really good writers, then you can just always submit you can always submit your keywords to those 20 over and over again to get content written, which is what I'm working on building now. I have about 3 of them, and it's cool, but for a fact, because they're decent, they're always going to have work. So I want to build up that list, and it's just a little bit of a struggle because I get frustrated. Um, it takes me longer to have a site put up because I'm waiting for content to be created, which is not a problem. Just work on another, do some more keyword research, which is really become an addicting habit. I have to tell you that it's like, oh yeah, I just found a really good keyword. It gets really, really addicting, and it's like a sport to me now. Like I'm like hunting for these keywords. And I love it. But let's keep it moving. Buying content. And then here is preparing your content for publishing, and that's just sprucing it up. Not sure that it's just common sense. If you want to put a website up, make sure it's spaced accordingly. Make sure you bold the headers of everything. Just if you ever put up a site together, these are the things that you definitely want to pay attention to. And then that was it. One thing I will mention is I am super curious as to what this little treasure hunting tool is. It's coming soon, and I'm just scratching my head because I can't figure out what on earth they could possibly put there. Everything was all about content. My assumption is there's probably going to be some more websites to go and get content written. So you might see Odesk up there eventually, or you might see a Lance or these other outsourcing places. But hey, you never know. So yeah, that was it for module 2. And just like last time, module 3 still isn't out. So even though I finished module 2, I'm dying from waiting for module 3. Like I want to be able to move from one thing to the other thing to the other thing to the other thing. At this point in time, I have one website completely ready and good to go. All I have to do is start link building for it. I have another website that's good to go, the mentalluxurywatchescenter.com. And then I have 4 more keywords that I've done the research for, and it has 5 articles ready to be written. I just have to buy the domain name. I have 3 that are in their pocket. I mean, I'm just building like this massive inventory, and I'm just ready for them to start, go out on the internet field and start dominating and making me my money, man. Get my money back. Like I said, we have 3 weeks. I'm sorry, we have 3 months to make back $4.95, which is what I paid for VIP. Woo woo VIP, but which is what I paid. So I'm kind of like, it's a little bit of annoying. I'm not gonna lie, because I have this time crunch, and then you have to keep waiting for them to put out content. A newer module is kind of annoying because if I'm doing the math already, it takes them about a week to put out every new content. So it's gonna take me about 2 weeks just to get to module 8. So then my first website isn't gonna be finished in as quick as I wanted it to. I was under the impression that I'll get in here, finish my website within 2 weeks, and then tweak it, and then use the feedback that I got from that website to better enhance my other websites. But it's not looking like it's going to happen. And that's perfectly fine, because what's going to happen for you is by the time you hop on Microsite Profits, all these modules are already going to be out, and you will be laughing at me because I'm the fool that waited for these modules to come out. So yeah, that is it. That is all for this video. You know what you're going to do? You're going to stay tuned, because as soon as Module 3 come out, I'm going to finish it, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about it. Alright, so until then, stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't. I'm seeing a lot of new activity, a lot of comments, a lot of people are sharing the video, and that's what's up. Definitely, that's what's up. I appreciate the love, so just keep it up. Keep it coming. Need it. I need some loving. I need some microsite profit loving. Yeah.